vulnerable to the train of cars behind.
Yeah, you don't want to be like Isaac Price in that previous race and just losing positions again and again and again. That wasn't quite in the same situation because he wasn't getting drafted past again and again. But the fact he didn't have any teammates around certainly didn't help. It's Kuba Brzezinski this time who's up there for the G2 Esports squad in that Porsche. Expect them to move forward throughout the race though. The Porsche's not a great car in a straight line, and so in qualifying with no slipstream it can struggle. But now that there's other cars around to race with, especially his longtime teammate Nikodem Wisniewski, they will work together well and look to move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say this as well. There has been some real good signs from the Mercedes cars in the online rounds here at Daytona. Williams Esports themselves having real great success with Dara McCormack in the first 2 rounds of the online championship, as now they come across the line and put pedal to the metal, and it is go, 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 and it is the Williams that leads the way. Matuszewski not getting an easy run, and look out for the G2 Esports car of Jakub Brzezinski, who's going to go wheel to wheel here with the team's Falcon driver, who now moves on through. Matuszewski ripping back P2 from the jaws of defeat in that blissful moment. A late break coming through the first sector. Matuszewski going for the lead immediately. He's not wasting any time at all. That certainly came out of nowhere. Just left his foot off the brake, ploughed onto the accelerator, and he takes the lead away from Pajtor.
Astonishing, really, for Jakub Brzezinski, and Tumas Tatzel is looking to join him down the inside of the West Horseshoe. He's going to be blocked there as Dominic Blau and Dennis Schoninger go side by side. Dara McCormack's made up some places too. He's now side by side with Nikodem Wisniewski. Oh, there's contact in the midfield there for sure. I think they're all still pointing the right direction, and they are, but that was an awkward moment between teammates in the midfield.
Yeah, close call, has to be said. They now get back into formation, more akin to what we see generally when we go racing in NASCAR, of course. But this time around, they will be looking to make those overtakes, I'm sure. Further back, Zemislav Lamanek, Mati Sipia also drafting out of position. Here comes now a G2 Esports car of Nikodem Wisniewski. He's going to try and take on 2 Williams Esports cars coming through that first sector. Well, coming out of the bus stop, I should say. Unbelievable move out of absolutely nowhere.
Oh dear, it's all going on back there though. I think there's been quite the contact between all of the 5 or 6 remaining drivers at the back of the field. We'll focus on the leaders and we'll see a replay of what's going on behind in a little bit of time, but goodness me, it's all going on back there. Wisniewski's going to push Blyer now as these two want to catch the leaders. Jakub Brzezinski in trouble! Oh, contact! Daniel Pajtor so nearly lost it there.
Yeah, and I must say Falcons with a great chance because Tatler's on the attack and he's now managed to move up to 3rd. Brilliant move from Tatler. Brzezinski down to 4th. Pajtor is now in the midst of 2 teams Falcons cars. We said Tatler could be dangerous. He is their locker room leader. Matuszewski's done a great job out at the front. He's controlled the lead pace, but they all came together as a concertina coming through turn 1. And in that first sector, it's the Falcons that lift off, spread their wings and ascend.
Dara McCormack down to 11th place as well. He's battling side by side with Isaac Price at the moment here. Further down in the field, he has now got back to 11th, but there was a real tie-up through the bus stop chicane that time around. It was all going on there. The bottom 6 now, all a lot further behind the top 6 because of all of that, and it was pretty messy really. Didn't go well for Dara McCormack clearly, who's now just got past Joni Turmula, is at least back into the top 10.
Yeah, Pajtor now urging ever closer. Whether he will plumb for the move this early, I'm not quite sure. He might choose to remain in behind. He might not be too upset with this current situation because we have seen the driver in P2 generally succeed here at Daytona. It's not out of the question. We've seen it time and time again. Matuszewski could find himself in jeopardy, but then again does have a fellow Team Falcons driver sat in 3rd. Brzezinski, who obviously lost out to 3rd very early on after that surprise attack from Tatler. He has Dom Blyer starting to close up, who is now within the same second of Matuszewski right now, and that gap between Blyer and Brzezinski is ever closing into a 10th, within a 10th now almost, as we now see them make their way down through towards turn 1 across the start-finish line again. The 2 Team Falcons cars starting to compress that Williams in between. Pajtor needs to manage this race.
And the reason why Pajtor didn't overtake there was because if he did, he would let the Team Falcons cars get together and they would work together to draft straight past him. He doesn't want that, obviously, so he will stay second for now, and he'll try and stay second for a little while. But how interesting is this? 2 of each team inside the top 6, 2 of each team in the bottom 6, and there's 2 distinct groups in the field at the moment.
There certainly is quite the divide, and I would say that divide really does formulate between Zemislav Lamanek and Nikodem Wisniewski. The gap there, very nearly 2 seconds between them. Let's take a look at the replay. Now this is the brilliant move that it was a great bold effort from the G2 Esports team coming through with the Williams, brave on the brakes. Of course, Jakub Brzezinski on part of that as they rush down through towards the bus stop. Again, he took 2 Williams Esports cars on, didn't quite fancy the third, but the all-important fact is that he is up 2 places as a result. Schrödinger and McCormack down 8th and 9th.
And what we didn't see there was what happened behind.
It was Wisniewski, sorry.
Yeah, first Wisniewski got through on Schrödinger, it was, and because the Williams car was all over the grass and all over the place, it tied up effectively the rest of the top 6 who were absolutely everywhere on the way out of the bus stop chicane. It was a right mess, and that's why you've seen the 2-second gap start to open up. Now, this is interesting. Jakub Maciejewski is still leading, but for how much longer? Daniel Pastor, as I said before, still wants to remain second so that he can split apart the teammates for as long as possible here. Tomas Tatsila will try and get through if he can. Not sure what Dominic Blyer is going to do, really. He'll stay behind Jakub Brzezinski and try and stop the G2 Porsches from getting side by side. It's all going on into turn 1.
Yeah, side by side. Wisniewski looking to open the door here on Dominic Blyer as they go wheel to wheel, coming through the first sector again. Brzezinski holding on to 4th. He's not under too much scrutiny in this fight, but would obviously quite like to have his teammate joining him in positions 4 and 5. And no doubt Nathan Tague, behind the scenes, team boss for G2, will be willing his boys on as they now head through the middle sector here on lap 4 of 9. We're now coming over the halfway mark, and very shortly you see them come through the 3rd sector, where they will of course meet that bus stop chicane once again, but that field getting compressed once more. But still, Schrödinger has a gap to find on Wisniewski further up. He has overtaken Lamanek actually, because Lamanek was in that 7th place but has since forfeited.
Out the left-hander they go, onto the banking again through NASCAR turns 1 and 2. I think we could see a similar situation at the end of this lap, to be honest. Don't know, maybe we're not. I'm not sure how Dominic Blyers managed to get overtaken there. It must have been a mistake. I wouldn't imagine it was Nikodem Wisniewski getting to the inside off the corner, but I guess it could have been. Now the 2 G2 Esports Porsches are together. This could be a very interesting second half of this race.
Could be. Dom Blyer has taken the fastest lap as well as they cascade through the bus stop chicane. Matuszewski still in charge and out in front. We're riding on board here with Thomas Tatler, sister Team Falcons car. Falcons currently sat 1 and 3, with the other 2 sat 8th and 10th. Very much a divided grid order, as we so rightly said. The gap still well beyond where it needs to be for Schrödinger to close. Wisniewski obviously getting past on Blyer earlier on, as now we see once again Pajor just waiting in the wings, not content with making the move just yet. He knows how to play the percentages, takes a more aggressive angle through turn 1. I do wonder whether Matuszewski is going to be trying to will the Williams Mercedes onwards, because of course he wouldn't necessarily want to lead on the final lap because he knows exactly what could yet come.
Well, yes, but he will have his Falcons teammate to help
Thomas
him.
Tatler.
He could either let Thomas Tatler win by giving him the draft, or he could get pushed into a victory situation by Tatler himself. Meanwhile, side by side further behind, Matti Siepela and Darren McCormack, as the Irishman tries to make his way through the field again, and he is now in 9th place, rescuing a poor start, getting himself, and a poor qualifying, let's not forget, rescuing what he can from this race. A 7th place, probably his maximum he can get here.
Yeah, Falcons on the rise once again, much like they were at Fuji, managing to bring more cars into that midfield fight. And again, G2 are forced to suffer here at this point. Yoni Tormler and Isaac Price, both of whom have had experience in major LAN events in the past. Yoni Tormler currently, of course, competing in the Formula 1 Sim Racing World Championship. Isaac Price, a former Formula 1 Sim Racing World Championship driver, and used to actually race for the Williams team as well. But now this time here at G2, and Williams are in front of him. Dara McCormack in 9th, however. Would have expected Dara to be further up the order. Was a grand qualifier, but unfortunately during his lap in the qualification phase, he suffered that slowdown like so many others did. And as they now take the turn down through towards the start-finish line once again, it's still Matuszewski out in front. Pajor now being met, but here comes Thomas Tatler.
Here he goes, side by side to the line, but interestingly, Maciejewski doesn't help his teammate. That is something we haven't seen so far today. He's going to break early here, get in the way of Pastor if he can, and he's successful in doing so. Thomas Tattler through into second place, and Team Falcons are going to be difficult to beat from here.
I hate to say it, I think I disagree with you, Ewan. I think he was helping out Tattler. He did exactly what he needed to do, hold up Pastor and allow Tattler to go through, and at the same time maintaining his own position. It's Falcons now at the very top, as opposed to the Williams outfit that we saw in the previous race. It is now the two cars in green and black in front of this order, with also G2 Esports coming into this. Brzezinski and Wisniewski, in all the tussling between the top three, have managed to bring their cars even closer, and Blyer is part of this too.
You might be right, to be fair. He might well have been helping.
I can see your point, though.
I mean, it's there are more than one ways to help each other, I suppose, isn't there? So
well,
there's more than one way of going about it.
We're teammates too.
Exactly. Falcons 1 and 2. G2 4 from 5, which is what I'm interested to see here. I'm surprised they haven't made more use of that so far. Wisniewski needs to get a little bit closer to Brzezinski here, and oh goodness, it's all getting very close into the bus stop chicane, isn't it? So are the Porsches going to go for this on a freight train on the outside? Is Daniel Pastor going to get swallowed up by those behind? What's going to happen here as we have a look at the replay of the second group here?
Oh
dear.
wow, goodness me. Yeah, Team Falcons unfortunately getting rear-ended. That's two Williams cars currently in the midst of a fight or a scrap between a Team Falcons Audi R8 LMS, as now we rejoin the battle right at the front.
I think that was Matty Siepeler and Darragh McCormack, based on what I'm seeing at the moment.
Would explain the gap. But,
contact.
Yeah, wheel-to-wheel, Wisniewski and Pastor. And looks like Brzezinski's coming into this too, and both G2s go through the inside. That is absolutely sensational. Wisniewski and Brzezinski, the two former Williams Esports drivers from last season, have now, well, you might as well throw any form of loyalty to that team in blue. They have just blasted past and taken third and fourth away from them.
They've got one over on the teammates. Wisniewski and Brzezinski have reversed their own positions, but more importantly, they're ahead of Williams, who are going to take a point sit in this race as things stand. I think it's going to be very close, though. We'll do the maths afterwards, because the positions are certainly not set in stone. It's a very interesting race, a dynamic situation in both the front group and this second group.
Well, Maciejewski, as we alluded to, one of his great successes was here at Daytona. First visit, a third place in the quarterfinal during the team online rounds, but still under pressure will be the Williams Esports team, because Dennis Schrodinger is now being moved up on here by Isaac Price as well. Of course, on the right-hand side of our screen, as we were looking at it, Wisniewski, though, we are looking at here at this stage, currently chasing after Thomas Tattler. Of course, trying to put a G2 Esports car higher up in the top three. Second place right in front of him. Maciejewski still holds on to the lead, as he has done right through, and if it stays like this, Falcons have a huge chance.
They certainly do. Will Wisniewski get between the teammates here? No. Doesn't decide to go for it. I'm surprised by that, because now he's on his own. Brzezinski made a mistake through the infield section there, and he's dropped back. Well, I'm not sure it was a mistake, but he's certainly been overtaken. He's down to 5th place now, as the two Falcons may exchange places. Not quite. No,
Maciejewski wants to hang on to his lead advantage. Wisniewski forced to wait in behind Daniel Pastor. Blyer and Brzezinski going at it as well in a battle over 5th. Brzezinski, though, I think managing to hang on barely. Blyer still working hard to at least put his Williams car back into this top 5 flight, because Williams want more points to consolidate this lead at the top of their group. Maciejewski and Tattler, though, well, they've caused a bit of a complication as far as the group's concerned.
I just want to make a couple of updates, by the way, on penalties we've seen so far. Put in mid-race, 3 penalty points so far to Williams Esports. There are still 3 more under review as of right now, but the championship leaders with this group are going to take a hit on points, not only in terms of finishing position, but with a few penalty points as well.
And whereas everything looked so much, well, whereas they looked so in control in that previous race, things have now obscured slightly, as now once more Wisniewski all over the back of Thomas Tattler, and now as they pursue very shortly in bid to ending the penultimate lap of the race. Of course, first and foremost, they've got to take the bus stop chicane. Of course, not a carbon copy of the bus stop chicane at Spa, that's for sure. very, very different. This one far more fast-paced, and you can really tackle those curbs as well.
It's an actual bus stop, which is the difference
bus
between
stop.
the one at
That
Spa.
is very true, you and O'Leary.
Yeah, as opposed to it just used to be. So there you go. Final lap of the race coming up here. I honestly can't read this race. This has probably been the best Daytona race we've had so far here this week, and Nikodem Wisniewski wants him to be the winner. Over the line they go. This is on. 1 lap to go.
How brave is he going to be on the brakes coming into turn 1? He's already alongside one Team Falcons car. The Audi R8 LMS, though, has the Tiger line coming through turn 1 and will withstand the pressure. But there's plenty more heavy braking zones to come, including this first hairpin that's coming up. Late on the brakes again here from Wisniewski, who's going to look to try and take Thomas Tatler up the inside. And it looks like he'll have the acceleration. The Porsche now moves side by side again on the Audi R8 LMS as they now burst through. Another braking zone to come soon as well, but it's Tatler who takes it back.
I think that'll be that now. Team Falcons are surely going to win this with Jakub Masiewski because of that battle. They're not quite out of slipstream range, so it's not over yet, but the chances of Masiewski taking a victory here are quite large, I would say. Wisniewski very close indeed behind. Brzezinski is in 4th place, and on another day he'd be a little bit closer and be able to help his long-time teammate, but I don't think they're quite close enough to get connected and freight train past the Falcons like they really want to.
Yeah, it's going to be a big mission though for Tatler to hold on to second, because Wisniewski is going to make his life miserable. Side by side between the two manufacturers once more. Porsche Audi once again. G2 though not favouring a late move on the brakes. With the line that Tatler had, he was able to be a little bit braver. Pajtor waiting in the wings in 4th. Still big points going Williams' way as far as that's concerned, but they would have preferred the victory as they come around the bank corner for the final time here on this lap, here in race 2 of this second chance Teams Championship phase. 2 spots, remember, to take you through to the final tomorrow. And I tell you what, we've seen some action, but Jakub Matuszewski, he's going to be stellar once more at Daytona. His debut brought him 3rd. He's just taken victory here in the second Teams Championship second chance race. Falcons on top.
It's his first ever victory in ESL R1. He'll be absolutely delighted with that because Falcons really needed it. They were 3rd in Group A after that opening race at Fuji. They've avenged that with victory here and a double podium as